Hi, I'm your host, Noah Sweet, and welcome to the Sweet Space Podcast, Episode 6. Here we talk about whatever random nonsense myself and my guests feel like talking about at any given moment, every Wednesday. Please remember that the first 13 episodes of this season, re-uploaded from prior episodes, range from a couple months old to a year and a half old, which means a disclaimer is necessary that not all opinions expressed reflect the current opinions of myself or my guests at time of re-upload. Thank you, and enjoy the show. See you next week! Hello everyone, welcome to the Sweet Space Podcast. Let's get the intro out of the way because after 3 episodes with Kevin, I have a new friend named Andrew. And I can't really link you to any of his social media accounts because he doesn't have social media accounts. Absolutely nothing of note whatsoever. This will never come up again. I just brought on a random friend to talk about the topic of today's episode, which is dreams and the funky shit that happens with dreams. So I'm going to let you speak now, Andrew. You're unmuted.
Hello, I've been granted permission to speak. This is a sublime
That's right, you have civil rights now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yep. I just passed the Civil Rights Act of 8:36 p.m.
Oh my god, you were the one behind that?
Yeah, it's true.
I'm very
it's true.
appreciative. I've heard of your work. You've done exceptional things for the people of right now.
Exactly. I mean, right now it's just my homeland, my community. I mean, I live in this moment.
You are a veritable army of one.
That's right.
So what can I help you with today? What can I assist you as of 8:36, soon to be 8:37?
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It is going to be 8:37 soon. I mean, the time flies by really fast.
Well, absolutely.
It just gets like that. The older you get, the I guess the faster it all goes by. I mean,
is this the Inevitability of Death podcast?
I still remember when it was 8:35. Oh, now it's 8:37. I still remember when it was 8:36.
We gotta do this quick. I have so much life left to live.
I know, right? Oh, the average lifespan. The average lifespan is. Hold on. What's the average lifespan in years? I'm trying to figure out how to. I'm trying to be fast doing this bit.
I want to say
it's like 80 years. I'm gonna say.
80 years. I feel like that's generous.
Okay, but that's because you're American. In Canada, it's like 80 years. I'm going to say 77.5 as a baseline, because I know it's like 75 in America. 77.5 years in minutes.
Oh, you're actually...
The average lifespan is 4.0734 E plus 7 minutes. So we have like... Well, I'm 20, so I have about... Let me do 57.5. No, I have about 3.0243... E plus 7 minutes left. So yeah, we got to get on this.
Why are we doing like decimal places now? Like, oh yeah, the average human lifespan is about 73.233 repeated. It's actually kind of an infinite number. So if you think about it, that's a form of mortality.
So that's right. We're fractionally immortal.
You'll get my age can be measured using the quadratic formula. Classic.
This is so true. Yeah, everyone knows this. Everyone knows this. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, once you get to 43, you just can't really go past that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I would argue, some certain intellectual peoples like myself would argue that 48 is the largest number.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that debate on here.
I think that might be... I
mean, there's enough political violence in the world. I feel like I can't control my urges if we get into that.
Yeah, I might be forced to, travel through the screen and destroy you. I mean, if I was hypothetically capable of doing
if hypothetically we were having the 43-48 argument.
Yeah, which we're
not.
Yeah. So, moving right along.
Yeah, right. So,
which I guess I'm not at liberty to know as of now.
Yeah, more or less, I just want to talk about like the weird, like stuff that happens with dreams, because I think it's a fascinating subject. And see, a lot of people tell me they don't remember their dreams or almost never remember their dreams. And I can't relate. I mean, there's certain dreams I've forgotten for sure because I just haven't written them down. But in the immediate aftermath of a dream, I tend to remember like quite a few details. And nowadays, I've taken to writing a lot of my dreams down just for the sake of having a permanent record. Because some of the stuff that happens in the dreams is both like A, really funny, and B, genuinely like interesting and weird. Like, I don't know how else to put it. It's a subject that like Andrew and I both have some like interesting experiences with. especially when it comes to like lucid dreaming. I mean, it's not the most interesting subject, but it's a decently interesting subject for like a short podcast episode. Because I don't plan on like going like super late on this one. The last few were like 3 hours long, and I'm like, this one could probably be wrapped up less than 2, but that's just me.
Well, I think we'll just see where it goes. I mean,
That's
ask
right.
me whatever you like. I'll answer to the best of my
See where the
ability,
wind
and then
takes
the next I
us.
have nothing else to
Exactly.
say.
Yeah, as long as I don't ask what the biggest number is.
No, yeah, no. Once you ask that, this interview is over.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at that point, I mean, the longest the interview could realistically go on is 43, but we're gonna step
Listen,
aside.
don't start. Don't you start, okay?
All right.
I know
Imagine,
I know
imagine,
black hat hackers, and they can find out where you are.
imagine,
We'll send special men.
imagine the recording is exactly 43 minutes long.
I'm gonna do everything in my power to prevent that from happening. So should we start talking about lucid dreams? Is that what you want to get into first, or just like dreams as a general concept?
Well, I don't know. What do you think you have? What do you think you have on standby in terms of like dream stories?
Oh, like active dream stories. I'll have to think about that. I'm not entirely sure what my favorite one might be. There's just so many different ones to think about, and I've
Yeah.
I've written about so many. I also started keeping track of my dreams a few years ago, and it's kind of spiraled out of control. So some of my dreams are like 6-page essays, and I have like a
What?
document. And at
No,
this
I don't
point,
even do that. I write
no,
them
I,
in
I
like
mean,
Discord messages on like fucking Rupert Cord, which is like my
no,
roleplay
but
server.
yeah.
You actually like
Oh,
write essays of this stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
you have to
I
show me that
I
real
I
quick
am
later sometime.
I
That
am not
sounds
on
interesting.
your level.
Well, it's definitely work. I mean, you have a dream, and it doesn't happen extremely often, but sometimes I'll have a dream and I'll be like, well, I guess I know what I'm doing for the first half of the day. Like you really set it aside.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I have it's about like
Yeah, the thing
430
is,
something pages at this point.
that's crazy. There's an entire journal that you have for this stuff.
Well, it was something that I was really passionate about, and I thought to myself, like, I mean, I have all these dreams. I want to write them down, and I didn't think that I would write them to be that long. I didn't think I would get into that much detail. But the
Yeah, but I
thing is,
mean, I'm a writer and I know how it feels. You always think that at first, and then you end up writing like 20 pages of something you thought would be 2. It's a classic experience. Like one
exactly,
time I
it
was
creeps
writing an
up on me.
outline for like this story or lore. I forget which exactly, and I meant for it to be really short, and it ballooned into like 20 pages. So like, I mean, it happens because I keep wanting to add more and more details of the stuff I'm interested in, and then it balloons and balloons outward until it becomes like this huge thing.
Yeah, it's similar to
I
that. I
can
think
barely
that the
muster this energy for my actual like university essays. It's the worst part.
I think the only difference between your example and mine is that with me, it's stuff that I already knew, but the more I write about it, the more I realize how much I'm not actually telling through the words. So I get into the details and I get into past stuff that I remember happening. The more I write, the more I remember having happened. It's like I retroactively recall more. And I just know
Right.
that that is what happened. And it expands into this whole narrative. And some of the dreams have become quite complex. Let me know if I'm rambling at any point because I get into this stuff and I just go on.
No, that's fine. I mean, that's kind of the point of a podcast. Like, you literally are just supposed to let the other person talk. I don't even really do enough of that as a host, but whatever. Because I like to ramble too, but
Mm, yeah, fair enough. We got two ramblers.
that's
It's
right.
the Rambler Central here.
It's
Rambler Roundabout.
RamblerCon.
Yeah, RamblerCon 20 whatever year it is now.
It's RamblerCon 8:44 p.m.
Oh yeah, that's I was gonna say. I was taking a look. 8:40 RamblerCon. The year is 8:44 p.m. So yeah, I mean, I've had dreams where just entire plot lines unfolded that were actually pretty coherent.
Oh,
And
that's
I
crazy
made like,
because one thing I can't say about my dreams is that they're coherent. Like, I can draw maybe a slight through line, but it's a very squiggly line. I'll just say that.
Well, I think
It's
that
very much in
dreams.
the ballpark of like if you asked ChatGPT to generate like a plot of a story and then like asked it to make it super long, like it would start remembering things wrong and like hallucinating details and fucking up the consistency. It's the same with my dreams.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of my dreams are like that too, but there's still like a thread. There's a central plot where you can kind of tell the mood has changed and the characters have a motivation that you can actually glean, you can understand, and it actually makes sense even when taken into the context of reality. And
Right,
some of
yeah.
the things you have to infer, but then other things, they make their own internal kind of logic. And I guess maybe for me, I'm someone who dabbles in a lot of surreal artwork and surreal stories a lot. I found myself down a few internet rabbit holes now and then. And when I have dreams that are naturally abstract, I feel like there is meaning in them because I've trained myself using a lot of people's art and a lot of people's writing where they've made the meaning more ambiguous. They've made it, less easily digestible. And I kind of feel that when I go through dreams, when I witness them, that understanding comes with me.
Uh-huh, yeah. I completely understand that. I mean, it's interesting though. Like it's interesting how you can get like whole plot lines out of dreams in your head. Because like you'd think that I mean, the human mind when conscious like can like manifest all that, but when unconscious it's like it's almost a little fucked up when you think about it. I know you mentioned this to me the other day, but like the amount of things that humans can just subconsciously do without being awake points toward like consciousness is not always necessary for us to perform basic biological functions, like the whole like sleepwalking thing with people like straight up you mentioned to me that like people have straight up like driven cars while sleepwalking before or started to anyway. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, there have been cases where people have done all kinds of stuff, like they've made breakfast, they've done all these maneuvers while not even really being aware of it. And granted, a lot of this is them acting on muscle memory. It's them already knowing basically how to do something, and it's kind
Right,
of
like if it's a
written into them.
routine,
But
uh
yeah,
it's like a thing that they've already kind of programmed themselves to do in a sense. Yeah,
but I
that
mean,
that
muscle
is a
memory.
scientific explanation that makes sense to me. I never really thought of it like that, but now you say it.
But the thing is, I mean, at least as far as I'm aware, muscle memory only gets you so far. I mean, muscle memory tells you to do maybe one or two things when the stimulus is right. But walking downstairs without tripping, getting a pan out, knowing that the handle is here as opposed to like 1 centimeter over here, turning the heat
Somehow
up,
managing
going
to
over
not burn
here,
your
like
hand in the process because that's really
opening the
easy
door.
with a pan.
Yeah, like doing all these different things, you have to see and register something and react according to it. And I don't really feel like that kind of adaptability can be entirely chalked up to just muscle memory. There's more there. There's
Yeah,
you
no, it could
using
be
a
something
mental
else.
component.
Yeah, I suppose there is, and this is actually a funny segue because I know I already mentioned this to you like specifically in DMs or no, not DMs. I posted it on a Discord server and then we talked about it in DMs, I think. Um, but I recently had a dream where I went all the way down to downtown Toronto, or I intended to go to downtown Toronto, with the intent of going to I think Koreatown, which is in like old Toronto, and then there, once I was there, I intended to go to a Korean restaurant and eat some like Korean food for like my lunch. And in the dream, this was all in a dream, by the way. I'll just specify this again for anyone listening. Midway through the dream, I ended up sleeping like inside the confines of the dream. I ended up like
Mhm.
falling asleep, as in like in the story of the dream, I fell asleep. And then I woke up still in the dream. I just came to, and I was in the middle of eating like a basic sandwich with like basic sandwich meats like ham and like chicken or maybe turkey. And there wasn't any mayo on it. There weren't any like toppings or anything. It's the most basic kind of sandwich I typically throw together when I really just need to eat something and I don't really have a lot of time or want to spend a lot of time preparing something like elaborate. So
Hmm.
I come to, and I've just got this whole sandwich just in my mouth. Like I've already like eaten it like about halfway, and I remember just being visible, not visibly, I guess, because I wasn't seeing myself. Just I remember being just like, I don't remember being shocked that I was asleep for a few hours. Somehow got myself a sandwich and started eating it while sleepwalking. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't like scared or anything. My only reaction was just annoyance because now I was full for lunch and I wasn't going to be able to eat the Korean food that I wanted to eat. And then
Yeah.
and then at some other point I woke up from the actual dream.
Classic case of dream self-sabotage. You see it all the time. I was speaking with Freud earlier. He said that
I know,
one of
right?
the top reasons that you eat bread in dreams is because you have unresolved issues with your dog.
All right, of course, of
Yeah.
course.
But let me ask you on a more serious note. When you were sleeping in the dream, what was that like? What was the experience of that?
Um
How did you know that you were asleep in the
so
dream?
this is just
Was
an
there
inference I'm making from like after I woke up from the real dream and I had to look back on it because basically what really happened was I kind of like teleported from like my planning stages to go to Koreatown all the way downstairs to the kitchen where I was eating a. Actually, you know what? I think I was in Toronto when I was eating the sandwich. So that's even funnier to me because it implies that in the story of the dream, I somehow sleptwalked all the way from my city to downtown Toronto, which is not. I mean, it's decently close, but it isn't like right next door. So I would have had to travel that entire distance and while somehow still having prepared the sandwich, and then I would have had to sit down somewhere in the middle of downtown Toronto and just start eating the sandwich. And I would have had to do all that before waking up, which is really funny to me. But like anyway, I'm trying to say I didn't really experience the sensation of falling asleep if you could to the extent that you can really experience that in real life. It's just I blacked out and then I came to what was, I guess, canonically within the dream a few hours later when like lunchtime was. So like noon.
And you came to the conclusion in the dream that you had slept, like you were provided with
Yes.
some kind of residual information. That's you're right, gotcha.
Yes, I think so anyway.
'Cause that kind of stuff is
The thing
always
about
is
dreams that's difficult is that you can't always tell what you can't always tell like what actually happened in the dream versus what your mind is now coming up with now to fill in the gaps. You
oh,
know?
yeah, absolutely. That's always a big issue when you're trying to
It's
understand
why
what actually.
a lot of the notes I write down for dreams I have like question marks attached because there's some things I'm not at all sure actually happened. It's just I have to fill in some connective tissue to make like the events I know did happen coherent. I would compare it to how like you know how dinosaur skeletons have like a number of fake bones to hold the real bones together because they just don't have enough like real bones that architects have dug up. Not architects, archaeologists have dug up to construct a fully like natural dinosaur skeleton for a museum
Right.
exhibit.
I actually
That's
did
how
not
I
know
view
this.
it. Well, you know it now.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'll dream about it.
Yeah, it's amazing the sort of information we can grant to each other at in the year of our Lord 8:53 p.m.
Oh my god, 8:54. Excuse
Oh,
you.
right.
Yeah.
8:54. In my
Please
defense,
don't.
it just switched after I said that.
Yeah, please don't make that mistake again on my Christian server. I thank
I
you.
know,
And
right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
in the year of
Yeah,
our Lord
I messed up
1854,
Jesus's age by 1 year. It's true.
please do not disrespect him in his own home, which is everywhere.
In his own home, which is everywhere. That's true. I mean, I guess he is everywhere.
So, I'm just gonna. I don't know if this is a plug because it's not like I've made any money on this or anything, but I actually, to kind of help myself better understand some parts of dreams, I've taken them apart and sort of labeled different sections of them and different elements of them. So, what I call you knowing in the dream, you just having information, is antumbral data. I just settled on the name because I felt like it was specific enough to not be confused with anything else. And that's basically when nothing actually happens in the dream, or you're just starting out a dream, but you know intrinsically a factor of the dream that you would have no way of knowing based on your actual perspective and lived experience within it. So, like, for instance, you're in the woods and you just know if you touch the green mushroom, a giant monster is going to come out from the soil and devour you or something like that. Like, it's just an unwritten, unlearned rule that you just have intrinsic knowledge of. And
Right,
dreams do that
yeah.
all the time.
I actually have examples of that, too, if I may.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah, so for context, when I was like really, really young, like maybe 3 or 4, my parents got this like moose plushie, like a stuffed animal kind of like thing. It's like, you know what a plushie is.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm Canadian, so moose are kind of a big deal here in this country. It's one of like the 3 big animals that we're known for, with the other one being the beaver and the other one being, I think, the goose. Um,
I was not expecting that last one.
well, it's complicated with the goose because the goose isn't really specifically a Canadian thing. It's
Always
just,
complicated with the goose.
yeah, exactly. It's just, I feel like we're slightly more known for the geese than like America is, even though they're also like in America to a wide degree. Whatever. I think moose and beaver are like the 2 biggest ones. The point is, you can't really go many places in Canada without some exposure to like some moose iconography. Um, I mean, it's a country that, in large part, it's just the moose. Like that's its home. It's like how the Lord Jesus' home is like everywhere except for the moose.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
Canada.
In the year of our Lord, 8:56, 8:57 p.m. I'm
Oh
so
no!
sorry. Lord Jesus, I'm sorry.
Now
And on a
you
Friday
mixed it.
too.
Now
Oh my
you
God.
mixed it up. Now you mixed it
Ooh.
up.
No,
Oh,
I
that's
caught
rough,
myself. No, I
buddy.
caught myself. I caught myself.
Okay.
I saved, and my soul
Oh,
has been
okay. So
saved.
yeah, but it's a prob. Oh, but it's bad when
No,
I say the number right before it changes. Literally right the moment before it changes, you still chew me out
look,
over it. But you get to
Go
stop midway
get,
through as
go
it's
see a
changing.
priest. Go do confession. I'm gonna go pay my indulgences to the Catholic Church, and I will be forgiven for my sins.
Okay. I'll do that too, I guess. That's a fair
Yeah, you can if
compromise.
you want. It's not going to work as much for you because you've sinned so greatly, but I mean,
Wow,
maybe they'll.
wow. Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Uh
Your soul is consigned to the 5th layer of hell. I don't even remember which one that is, but it's one of them.
Damn, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what layer of hell that is. I mean, it sure is a layer of hell, but who knows? Who knows what lies beyond?
Yeah, I don't know. Dante probably didn't know. I mean, what do you think he's actually
Yeah,
been
no.
there? I think
There's no
I
way.
think
It
he
was
had a
fan
dream.
fiction.
I think it was fan fiction.
No, it is. Dante's
Yeah.
Inferno is basically like an early example of fan fiction from like
Yeah,
way
no,
long
yeah,
ago.
because it wasn't like
Complete with a
official that hell was
self-insert
like that.
character. And like the funny thing is that every single person who wronged him would be like inserted somewhere into hell. It was like the medieval equivalent of like putting your enemies in like a soy jack meme. Like I've
Oh
depicted you as
yeah,
the
no, I
burning
remember
hell
this actually.
resident.
He had like named people that showed up there,
Yeah.
people he didn't like. Look how bad this guy
Unfortunately for you,
is.
I've depicted you as the burning as the burning hell resident.
Unfortunately for you, you sad, pathetic man, I've depicted you as the person with the broken neck in the snake circle of hell. I've depicted you as the guy Sisyphusing himself up the hill, and you, my friend, I've depicted as the tree burning alive. So think
That's
about that. Let's
genuinely
keep
what
that.
half of the story is. Like
It's so good though.
no,
You're
it's
right.
really good.
No, yeah, but you're right. That's basically what happened.
Yeah, going back to the whole moose thing. So we had this plushie, and at some point I decided I didn't really like the plushie for whatever reason. I don't know why. So because it was retired, it reached senior age. Because it was a retired plushie, my mom and dad didn't like throw it away or anything. They just put it in like this closet back at our old house. It was a closet that was like right in my parents' bedroom. So because the moose was in the closet, for some reason, because the closet was like dark and like poorly lit and you wouldn't be able to like see inside of it, especially if you were a child, you wouldn't really know what that means. For some reason, well, I guess I just kind of explained the reason. I began to associate the moose plushie and therefore moose in general with like the dark unknown, like I guess blackness of like a closet, of like a place that I'm not familiar with that isn't comfortable. So
Hmm.
I began to have nightmares where like the general theme, I had these like a billion times when I was a kid. The general theme of these nightmares would be that I would walk across the corridor in my old house. I guess the hallway might be a better term. I feel like they're the same thing, but one of them's British. The point is, I would walk down the hall and I would get to my parents' room for whatever reason. And I would walk into the room and the closet door would be open. So the closet, I would walk across the room and I would walk in front of the closet door, the one that moose plushie was inside of. And every time, without fail, I would get frozen in the middle of like right as I'm in front of the door. I would get frozen. I would be unable to move. I would be unable to scream or say anything. I would just be completely stuck, and I guess, I would kind of like I was a marionette controlled by like strings. I would be moved forcefully to face the open closet, and then a moose would just come slowly, like lumbering out of the closet. And sometimes it would have like these red demonic eyes, sometimes not, which
Evil
is kind of
moose jump
funny.
scare.
Yeah, no,
No,
it's
I
kind
mean
of
that
like,
would be absolutely terrifying though.
no, it would be terrifying. If it happened in real life, I'd still be pretty scared because like a moose is really terrifying up
Yeah,
close. They're
moose are gigantic, dude. They don't mess
yeah,
around.
yeah, no, and the moose would just kind of like stop in front of me, and like sometimes I think it would like try to eat me or try to swallow me, or it would just like absorb my vision or something. Like it would just like go up to me until all I could see was like its face or whatever. Um,
Corrupt you slowly.
yeah, exactly. And then I would wake up at some point after that. That was the general theme of the dreams, and they began to get a bit more elaborate as I grew older. Um, I believe at some point my parents started like closing the closet door whenever I went into that room so that I wouldn't be like scared. So, and sometimes I would sleep with them in the bedroom because like I was terrified of the moose. That was like when I was really young. When I got slightly older, but I was still like pretty young, the dreams became a bit more elaborate. Sometimes there would be lore, like my parents were like hijacked by like impersonators, and the impersonators were always like these demonic moose who were like wearing human skin suits. Like I don't really know how it works like in lore, but that was the inferred information that we've been discussing. Like I would see something wrong and I would just know that an evil demonic moose impersonator has taken the body of my mother or my father. Um, and sometimes there would be like weird active transformations where like at one point I was with my dad, not in real life. This was in a dream. I was with my dad and he literally, I forget what the stimulus was for this to happen, because usually there's like one specific point in which like the bad things start happening in a nightmare. You don't usually start off in a nightmare, at least in my experience. So like normally that would be me crossing the Rubicon, that is the field of view outside the closet, which would trigger me to go perfectly still and trigger the moose to come out. I forget what exactly triggered this, but I was just with my dad at one point, and my dad's face just like inflated and became like super furry, like a moose. And like I think his eyes went like deep red, and he just let out a bellow, like a moo sound, like a cow. And this was really funny too. I forgot to mention this. I used to associate the moo with a moose because moo is in moose, even though that's not the sound that moose make. That's a cow's sound. So like the moo sound would accompany all the evil moose in all these dreams. But like, yeah, that happened to my dad in one of the dreams, and I don't remember what happened after that. I think I might have woken up like right as the transformation started. And then there was another example where this isn't even the if I had like a nickel for every time my dad turned into like a moose-like creature in one of my dreams, I'd have like two because it happened twice. I think I specifically remember the year that this was too. It was 2016. And I think I was in like Florida on a trip, and I had this dream where my dad like turned into like almost a rhinoceros moose hybrid animal that was like the size of a big dog. It was like a rhinoceros, but like with brown fur around its horn, and like the rest of its body. And it just went like galloping around the house. And not the house, the condo, or wherever. I don't even remember if it was in the condo I was staying at. It might have been just a random place. But that's all I remember of those dreams. And usually, where I'm going with this, I have not had a moose nightmare since 2019. And that one was like a meta nightmare about how I used to have moose nightmares. So the last legitimate moose nightmare was probably 2016, which is when I moved into a new house. That probably helps because the closet that I associated the evil moose demons with was in that old house that we no longer are in. So there's a pretty obvious explanation for why I no longer dream that. The point I'm trying to build to with all this is basically, what did you say it was again? The inferred information thing?
Oh, I called it antumbral data.
Right, antumbral data. I would say that the antumbral data that applies in this case is the fact that every time I began to cross the closet, I couldn't stop myself from doing this, but I intrinsically knew that a moose would come out every single time. And I still did it. And sometimes, like I said as well, my parents would be acting weird in the dreams, and I would just intrinsically know, oh yeah, evil moose impersonator demons.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a case where antumbral data applies. Those situations happen, and you just kind of know that there's going to be that outcome with
Exactly.
the moose.
I'm.
And I would hope that the moose is not in the room with us right now because
Oh,
he sounds like
geez,
a
no,
dangerous
no.
sort.
Because
But and
again,
a
I
sneaky
don't believe
sort
in
too.
evil moose demons, but even a completely normal moose just in a room with me right now would be a very big cause for alarm.
Yeah, I mean, just give it a banana. I'm assuming that a moose will at least be mildly curious by a banana, and that'll buy you enough
I
time
actually
to.
don't know if they eat banana. Maybe.
Well, he might look at it and sniff it a little bit, and that
That's
gives you enough
true.
time to
Gives me
vacate the
enough.
premises
That
before
gives me
he
enough time to
unleashes
leave.
the full extent of his moose power.
Exactly,
So
exactly. Just. I
actually,
hope it's not a police moose. Then I'd be really fucked.
oh no, I don't know what that is, but that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, you got police
Um,
horses, but then police moose. That's when you're really fucked. That's like a Canadian thing specifically.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never seen a police horse. I've seen police dogs,
Right,
but
right,
that's
right.
about it.
Police
I've seen
horses.
police people
I don't know
too.
where I was. I don't know what I meant by police horses. Like what? That's not a real thing, obviously.
No, I think it is. I think it is. It's just a little out of pocket.
Yeah,
I
no,
just
no.
never
That's
really
never
thought
gonna be
about a police
relevant
horse
again.
before. So anyway, yeah, I do also find it interesting that you mentioned that this is something that you've had several times, and it's actually stayed pretty consistent.
More than
And
several.
that's
It
not,
would have been dozens back when I was a kid.
yeah, that's not something that I actually have experience with. All of the dreams that I've had have been very different from each other, and maybe one or two things have been consistent. I want to say that concepts have been consistent. Like there's been a general theme I've noticed where there's like weird monsters and you know alien entities and body horror and just general strangeness that happens in my dreams that doesn't always happen in everyone's dreams. And that's, I think, just more reflective of my personality than any specific instance of the world that scares me.
Yeah, just one glance into my twisted mind would make most simply go insane, haha.
Well, I mean, you may or may not find it scary. I make no claims as to whether or not it's something that would make people disturbed.
I suppose it's
But I
subjective. Some people are
definitely,
disturbed by some things and some are disturbed by others. I don't know if you
yeah. I
consider
mean,
yourself disturbed by dreams. You seem like a fairly
I
resilient fellow, if I'm being honest, but maybe I don't know.
Well, I mean, I have had many moments in dreams where objectively terrifying things are happening. Like there's a lot of body horror, there's a lot of just like danger inherent in a situation. Let me turn do not disturb on because you're probably hearing noises from my end
No,
and
I'm
I want
not, but you can anyway if you feel like it's necessary.
yeah, okay. I hate how different Discord looks now. It's not letting me do that. Oh well.
Yeah,
I
Discord
will just
UI updates are really like dumb and pointless in my
yeah.
experience. Like sometimes
I'll
the changes are like fine or good, but like they're all buried under like 50 unnecessary changes that no one asked for.
I'll tough it out. So yeah, but a lot of times really dangerous or deadly or terrifying things happen, or really sad things, and I just don't really feel anything. And I it's weird for me because my emotional reaction to a dream and the actual things that happen in the dream are often at odds with each other. Like, not to say that they're always contrasted, but just that they don't sync. I can feel terrified when essentially nothing is happening, or a very small thing is happening, like someone just moves in a subtly off way, and that's no good. Like that makes me wake up. Or I can have moments where I'm, drifting through like an entire meatscape or something, and it just feels fine, like it feels normal. And it just the
I mean,
capacity for
Tuesdays.
dreams to, yeah, it's just another day at the office, I guess, right? But
Yeah, I mean,
the
classic
the
9:10 p.m.
yeah, oh, 9, oh, well, I don't
Oh,
know if we can
9:11
say what
p.m. Oh,
happens
too
after
soon.
that.
Too
Not
soon.
on, not
Oh
on,
man, it would be
you
really
know.
funny if we were recording this one day earlier.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say it's still fresh. Maybe not get into that. So,
That's true.
um, but yeah, there have been so many instances where I haven't felt fear when I probably should have, and I have felt fear when I shouldn't have. But I will tell you, one of the most interesting things that I've experienced in dreams, like regardless of anything that I could tell you, any story I could give you, any individual one, is in regards to lucid dreaming and what I've learned when I
Oh,
tried to
lucid
attempt it,
dreaming's great.
and how my
I mean, I don't have
dreams
a
have
lot of
changed
experience with it, but
as a
uh,
result of trying it.
it's interesting.
I have had many experiences that are lucid dreaming adjacent, but I think it is actually impossible for me to fully lucid dream. And I can get into that if you think that we're at that stage of the discussion, but I'm probably going to be saying a lot.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's fine by me. I'm just gonna get like a few other things out before that, if that's
Oh, yeah,
fine.
okay.
Um,
Shoot.
I did find it interesting how like you said that like you don't really have like common, I guess, themes and motifs like I had in my childhood with like the moose, because as I said, yeah, the same general structure of like the closet dream repeated itself a lot throughout my childhood. And even when it branched into other things like the parent impersonators, the imposters, if you will, like from Among Us. Um, Once you got into even more, I guess, complicated stuff like that with like bits of lore, it was still following like the same general idea of like there are moose demons out to get you in particular for some fucking reason, and they're causing problems for you and your family. I think I remember one where like my real parents were like caged up somewhere, and then like the impersonators were in my house. It was weird. Um, the point I'm making is, yeah, I had these like consistent things, and I also have like a series of dreams in more recent years that I've marked down in the dream channel on RRS or Rupert Cord. Like, there's a specific dream channel called Gore Slurper Induced Visions, which is like an AUL reference where we all drop our dreams. I do it more often than anyone else, I feel, but maybe that's just because I remember more often than anyone else. Um,
Okay, so just to cut
I
in here
have
for a
this.
second, I don't know what AUL is.
Oh, Among Us lore.
I some
It's
of the locations you're referencing here I are lost on me.
Oh, right. Among Us lore. The Among Us lore
Oh my
roleplay.
God.
I think I've talked
What's
about
with
that
you and
on.
Among Us? It's like the
I've talked
second
about
time.
that with you before. Um, Maybe not like super
Oh,
in
maybe
depth.
you know what? I probably like cast it out of my mind. Like I disconnected myself because I saw Among Us and like my eyes glazed over.
Oh, that's fair. That's
That happens
very
sometimes.
fair.
Yeah. It's the patented Among Us
It's a
self-defense
Pavlov
maneuver.
reaction to Among Us.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that
No,
reminds
no,
me of the fact that like every time I encounter the phrase Among Us in the wild, I have like I had this like almost vocal stim, or not vocal stim. I have an intrinsic reaction in my brain where if I encounter that phrase, I just mentally go Among Us and then play the entire like Among Us theme song like jingle in my head. Like it's really fucked up
Ooh,
actually.
yeah,
Like the fact that it
they
happens
got
every
you good.
time.
They got you hook, line, and sinker.
It's true.
You gotta
It's
listen.
not
Start
even the
with 10
only
minutes.
it's not the only one of those. Because I also have that for the phrase "say that again," because then it makes me think of that one like meme from like the Fan Four Stick movie from like 2015 with the guy turning to say that again. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I think there's
I am
one
not.
other. There's one other. There's other examples, but I can't really get into them here, mostly because I'm not remembering them offhand, and also because it's not fitting the topic. Um, I guess maybe very very loosely, but the point I'm trying to make is, um, yeah, there even now in like more recent dreams, there are some consistent things that show up, mainly characters from like different media I'm watching. Characters are a very recurring thing. Um, and it does usually coincide with characters in stuff I've seen rather recently. Um, which I suppose is like normal for dreams, but there's also like recurring examples. Like Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen has shown up a couple times. Most recently he showed up in like a dream a few months ago, but he's also shown up in some dreams last year because I watched Jujutsu Kaisen in like March 2024. And I haven't really been keeping up with JJK too much in terms of like the fandom or anything. So like I've kind of tapered off of that. But like for some reason you still get these offshoots where like you get these offshoots like the 2025 Gojo dream I had. And I'm not going to get into the exact like plot of that one because I'm going to be honest, it's one of the most disconnected ones I have. I genuinely couldn't tell you what happened in that one. It's just funny that he shows up even after like I guess my interest in JJK has waned. Even though that might pick up again because the third season is coming out in 2026. I don't know. Maybe he'll show up in more dreams. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if you've got like specific characters in yours. It seems like your dreams are more concept based than mine, whereas like mine almost play out like mental fan fiction, where I take all this stuff from media I watch and kind of mash it together into like this insane like stew of things, plus some concepts I know from real life. It's really complicated, honestly. It's just dreams are messy like that. I don't know if you have
Yeah,
that same experience.
I I think that that's another difference between us. I mean, you have a set of consistent rules. I have a set of rules that are usually changing. You have characters that tend to show up, as far as I'm aware, from what you've said repeatedly, and based on existing media. I actually don't usually have that happen. For me, I have a media that I get invested in. I have people that I can see online and like know are X, Y, and Z and from X, Y, and Z media. But when I dream, it's usually some new construct or some new entity, and maybe it's inspired by elements that I liked of what I saw. But the dreams don't usually have reoccurring people that show up throughout different, nightly iterations of my existence. They don't even characters that I made. There's one character in OC of mine that I'm, pretty fond of, and they've shown up only maybe one or two times that I can actually recall. And one time it was just a single moment, really, like a single event. That one turned out to be a nightmare. And then the other time they were present, and I think they had more of an impact, but I can't readily recall it now. So I mean, it probably wasn't that important to me. And then I have another character who I also think is pretty important in my dream, but even they don't show up in their entirety. They show up in like bits and pieces. I'll see a color that I associate with them, and the dream will kind of take a turn that's synonymous with how I think their personality is. And it feels like my dreams have a hard time, or maybe they just don't bother to construct actual characters and people that I can genuinely recognize as how they've always been. It just pulls them apart and looks for the parts that it likes of media and people that I know. And it reassembles its own narratives based on that. And it borrows from things and it steals from things. And maybe part of that is because I guess I see myself as a content creator. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm always writing things, I'm always creating new things. And I have always, as a person, had trouble with using the same old characters, at least in terms of side characters, when I can just make new ones that embody new concepts and play around with those. I'm someone who's always moving forward onto some other thing that I want to create and think is fun. And I may have some kind of deep-seated aversion to being stuck in a rut and using the same concepts that I've created before. Creating a character and using that character 4 years later for the same thing just, I guess, isn't really palatable for me. So I think
That's
that there's definitely a
interesting, and that
parallel there.
yeah, there could be a bit of an explanation in that because I mean, obviously, dreams reflect like a lot of like how we are in real life. I think I too am a creator. I have literally like written like a draft for a novel, so I can definitely say I'm a writer and like a creative. It's just I do think I might not be in that same like constant creation mindset that you seem to be implying you're in, because I do spend a lot of time just watching like things I'm interested in, like TV shows and movies. A lot of them become inspiration for my own stuff, but that's a topic for another time. And weirdly, I don't think I've seen like my own OCs, or like concepts from Among Us lore or the Jonathan Crisis or any of these like roleplay things and stories that I've been part of. I haven't really seen characters from those show up that often. I mean, it's probably happened once or twice, but generally speaking, you'll get like more like anime characters or TV show characters. I guess anime is usually also a TV show, but like live action TV show, I mean, some movie characters, and even some book characters. I've had dreams about characters from the Wheel of Time books by Robert Jordan, and I don't even have a mental image of those characters. At one point, I had a dream about a character from that book, and I was literally just reading the Wheel of Time in the context of the dream, except it was like a bizarre, like fucked up version of it. Um, there's
Just a
a
glimpse
lot of
into the twisted pages,
exactly
etc.
just a glimpse into my twisted mind. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's actually really fucking funny because the dream that I had about Wheel of Time was just I was reading the Wheel of Time. I was reading one of the Wheel of Time books, and like one of the main protagonists in the book had like an unprompted like narration segment. There was like an unprompted like line of in like that character's point of view segment where he was talking about for some reason he wanted to suck the dick of some other male character, and that was the dream. Like, I'm not joking. It's right. It's
So
actually really fucking funny because this
hold on,
character,
almost.
yes, this character was canonically gay only in my dream. This
Well,
character had
homosexual
shown
inclinations
absolutely
of the
zero
of the
attraction to men
Santa
in the actual story. And it would also be
were you
completely out
actually
of
able
character.
to?
It would be completely out of character for like the book to randomly like have a character announce, "Yeah, I want to suck someone's dick." like like sex is a thing that happens in the Wheel of Time, don't get me wrong, but it's like implied with like a certain kind of language, and it usually happens off screen. So you wouldn't have someone come out and openly say something like that in like in like those books, which makes it like all the more funny. And there's not really a lot of like queer characters in those books. There's like a couple minor ones in like the later books, like which were written in like around the late 2000s, 2010s. Um, but like, it's just funny to me that for some reason my mind conjured up this random like sentence in a book where like a main character proclaimed, "Yes, I want to suck this other man's cock." Like, why? It's such a bizarre, random fucking thing. I'm sorry, you were
So
gonna
were
ask a
you
question
actually
about that. Uh,
what?
you were gonna ask a question about that. I feel like I've just blindsided
Yeah.
you with this.
No, I mean I was gonna say because you seemed like you said you read this like it was present in the book and you obtained that
Yes.
information.
Yes,
So
I read
you
it in the
can
book.
actually read. You can read in your dreams.
Well, okay, so I can at least get the idea that I read in a dream. Like, maybe I wasn't
Okay.
physically looking at, like, all those letters, although I'm pretty sure I was in this case. It's just, I at least get, I at least can, like, process the idea of gleaming information from a book in a dream, even if, like, the letters themselves don't make perfect sense.
Right.
Because
Well,
there is a thing, if I may, there is a thing in dreams where like your mind isn't that good at like keeping text consistent and like coming up with like words and like letters that stick. So a lot of techniques I've seen recommended for like figuring out you're in a dream are just glancing away from any text you're seeing and then glancing back real fast. And generally speaking, the text will actually change to different text because your mind is trying to reprocess it. And I've actually successfully done this a couple times. And I'll get into that more later because I want you to say what you were gonna say. But like that's a real thing that like actually happens in some dreams. Or at least I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, no, it is. I've also experienced that myself. I was actually I was gonna say something that was a step backward from what you were saying, and that was to reaffirm that, at least for me, and I believe many other people, you can actually read in dreams. It is fully possible. There's, you know, there was a myth, or at least there was a myth back then that says that you couldn't really read in dreams, like the mind couldn't really process words in dreams, and one of the ways that you can tell you're dreaming is to just look at words and see if they are actually words or just foreign shapes. And that's not true. I mean,
No,
that
that's not true. It's
I
the
guess it
same
would
with like
depend on who
how
you are, but
it's
there's
the same
definitely people who
it's the
can
same with how
conjure.
people sorry, it's the same with how people will say, "Oh, you
Yeah,
can't see
you
phones
can.
in dreams." That's complete bullshit. I've seen phones in dreams like several
You can't
times.
see phones at what? Where'd that come from?
I don't know. It's a myth I've seen
That
propagated.
can't be
You
real.
absolutely can see phones in dreams. I even had a dream once where I was charging my phone and that was the premise of the dream. And at some point I just plugged in the phone so aggressively that the charge like overflowed to near infinite levels so that it would never die ever. Like
That
I
Look,
somehow
I could
cheat
have told you that
coded.
was bullshit right out the gate if you had told me that people couldn't dream about phones. I don't. Where did that come from? Who told
I
you that? I want to.
don't
I want to
know.
get to the
I
bottom of
don't
it.
know. I think I
Is
genuinely
this
don't know where
real? Did
that.
you dream about this? This is not like a real
No, no,
thing,
no,
is
no, no,
it?
no, no. This is an actual myth. I'm sure of it. Let me look this up. Can you see phones in dreams? Let's see.
Mandela effect. You just think that
Why
you've
don't
seen
we
it.
ever? Right. The first thing I get is r/dreams. Why don't we ever use our phones in our dreams or be on our phones?
That's
Which is
not the same thing, though. That's just asking why we don't use our phones in dreams, as opposed to,
okay. Okay.
which
What I meant.
actually I have never used my
I
phone
meant
in
phone
dreams. So that
screens,
is.
not like just the object phones in general. Like the actual screen.
Oh, okay.
I still think that's wrong though because I've definitely seen like a phone screen in my dreams before.
Yeah, I've seen computer screens and phone screens in dreams all the time. So I did think that's a
Yeah, I
bunch
just
of
don't
bunk,
believe that.
is what it is.
I think it depends on what you're focusing on in real life, to boot. Because like if you're not like super locked in on like understanding what a screen looks like in real life, you're probably not going to see it replicated that much in a dream. But if you spend as much screen time on a screen as I do, and you know the layout of like and you know the layout of all that stuff, you absolutely can visualize it in your dreams. So I'm basically just saying it's a
Yeah,
skill issue.
you could probably even sleepwalk your way into it, and play games while you're not aware.
That's true. I mean,
You know,
that's really fucked
I
up when
say
you
that
think
half
about it.
jokingly.
It's really fucked up when you
Yeah,
think about it. I
listen,
mean, what if I went and
it
played TF2 and I didn't select my main class?
oh my God, imagine playing heavy TF2 and not even being aware. Imagine being spy and failing to face stab someone, and they kill you with the fish, and you're not even aware to feel the shame.
You just don't even know.
Imagine
I
going
mean,
on TF2 and trading all your unusuals away to a random person and then waking
dude,
up right
imagine
after you do it.
sleepwalking and just giving away all your personal information to random people on Discord before you wake up.
That's I think that's actually demonic possession. That you get a pastor
Like
involved.
genuinely. Yeah, that's the evil moose demon.
Pastor, Pastor Marco, please. I gave away my social security number to everyone on my Facebook. I posted it publicly, and then I private messaged a bunch
That
of
should be the
people with
plot. If they ever
strange
make
last
another
names.
Conjuring movie, they need to make that like the plot. There's just like a guy who's been possessed into giving up all of his personal information.
He wakes up and like he's legally homeless now.
He's legally homeless.
He like signed off paperwork selling his house, but he doesn't know that he's done that yet. So
I
he
mean, I think
continues. He
there's
goes back
procedures. I mean, there are procedures in place to make sure you're like of sound mind while you're doing that. So I don't think, like, imagine he holds an entire conversation without knowing that he's
Yeah,
holding
because
it.
the demon impersonates him, dude. The demon
Oh,
knows what
right,
he's
because
like.
there's a demon. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not just sleepwalking.
like as Azazel, member of Fifth Legion, whatever the hell you want to call him, like
They just they
Klaus
just
is there,
fucking like the pastor comes over
possesses
and
dude,
reads
and
from the Bible and just expels the demon, and it's just like a fucking moose shaped demon. Like the guy just grows antlers out of his head.
it's a moose. A moose comes out, and then a goose comes out. It's
Exactly.
like
Oh, that's really fucked
two
up.
different demons. The goose is the one.
The pastor just chucks a banana at the guy to distract the moose demon.
Yeah, it distracts the moose, but the goose isn't fooled. The goose is out for
Oh
blood. The
yeah,
goose
the
goes
goose is
right
locked
for him.
in. The goose is locked
And
in.
he has to, yeah, the goose is locked the fuck in, so he has to bring out the holy water. He splashes the holy water on the goose, but the goose is a water bird, so
Oh
it's
no, you're
fine with
right.
it.
It's waterfowl.
It just the feathers don't get wet because they
I
have
mean,
that goose oil
at
on
that
them.
point, you got to bring out the holy lava. Like,
No, at that point he brings out the holy 9 millimeter. He finishes it
holy
off for good.
9 millimeter. What I'm about to do has not been condoned by the Vatican.
Yeah, he crosses himself first. He does like the T, and then he brings it out, and he downs that guy in 2 shots. He downs the goose, and then he takes the holy water. He takes another piece of holy water, and he like swigs it himself to cleanse himself of the sin.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's such a good mental image.
Oh
In
yeah,
fact, I hope I have a dream
Father
about that tonight.
Father Marco, he's pretty badass. You
That's
see
true.
him
It's true.
around. Send my regards.
But yeah, unless you
The
have
Lord forgive me for what I must do. Pow pow pow. Just like
unless
that.
you have anything
Crazy.
more to add right now, I do want to add in regards to the whole like text thing I mentioned, where like sometimes text will change if you look at it twice, and that's a good indicator that you're in a dream. I have
Yeah.
actually had that experience before. In one
Oh, I
dream,
don't doubt it.
in one dream, there's a specific example of this that I can always like remember. In one dream, I I the background to this was that there was like some sort of like zombie virus or plague as far as I remember, and like my little brother was like infected or something, so like we went to go get like a cure in some other place. I might be messing this up with something else. I might be mixing this up with like something else, but like that's just the background. At some point, we went up like this massive, almost elevator like place, except the elevator was like an entire like apartment that like just shot up into the sky. It was almost like a spaceship as well. I don't know how to describe it, but like somehow we transitioned from that. Oh no, wait, I think I understand. We went to an alternate universe through that machine, and then we ended up in this city called Sakbov. And I don't remember if that was the exact name of the city. It's just that's the best I can that's the best I can like recall from like the letters that I saw making up the town's name in the dream. It's kind of like how Yahweh is based on YH like WH because that's the only way they can really transcribe the name of God in the Bible. Like they don't have the actual name. It's just that's the best they can do with like
Yeah, they kind
human
of
tools.
censor it.
So that's the same thing with Sakbov. I don't know if it was the real name of the city, but like that was just what I got from it. And that's what I still have from it. The point is, we were in this like alternate reality city, and all of the signs were like really like evil and fucked up. In which I mean they were just kind of gibberish. I didn't necessarily suspect it was a dream yet. At one point, I actually walked up to a pedestrian in Sakbov, and I asked the question, in the movie Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, is there a scene where they go to alternate New York City and the traffic lights are green for go and red for stop? And that pedestrian was like, oh yeah, totally, dude. And for context, in that movie, in this reality, there's a scene where they go to alternate NYC, and the stoplights are actually green, and the go lights are actually red. And the idea was, in Sackbov's reality, it's swapped. So the movie that came out in their reality is swapped back to what we recognize in our reality, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so
It's
you
just really,
entered Bizarro City and caught a glimpse of your own culture through their media that's meant to be a reverse of the customs.
yes,
That's
that is
cool.
essentially what I meant. That's essentially what I'm saying. Um, and besides that, shortly after we were exploring Sackbov, it was kind of like a mix between, I don't know how to describe it. I can probably just find like some notes about it in the Gore Slurper Induced Visions channel. Let me look up Sackbov here.
So is this
Um,
still about the text though? Because it seems like this is becoming about a different thing.
yeah, I'm just setting up the dream in general, but the text is relevant in this dream. Um, uh, it was kind of like, okay, so it was kind of like a mix between a typical like Canadian suburb and then like Edinburgh in Scotland, which is a city I've been to. Um, because it was like there were suburb houses and then there were like random castles mixed in, like in the fucking suburbs, which is like a hilarious mental image. But as I said, all the stops, not the stop signs in general, but like it's just the signs in general, like the street name signs, were like really weird. And at that point, I was like, I had a suspicion that I was in a dream. So I randomly, just instinctively started like shaking my head back and forth and looking at all the different signs. Lo and behold, the text on the signs was changing. And I was like, Eureka! And then like 2 seconds later, I woke up because it's really rare for me to notice I'm in a dream and then not like immediately wake up after.
Yeah, that I think that happens with most people. For
Yeah,
me, it
it
happens
sucks
for a very
because
specific
I
reason.
like being aware I'm in dreams because it's like kind of funny. Um,
The
one
forbidden
time,
fruit.
one time I was actually so aware I was in a dream that I could actually feel myself waking up and I knew when it was about to happen. Like my eyes were like actually sagging open actively, and I could feel it while I was in the dream. And I was actually trying to
Yeah, the
stay in the
world
dream
kind of.
slightly longer, just to see what would happen. And then it's like, you know how when you're tired, your eyes kind of get like really droopy, and like you struggle to hold them open. I was struggling to hold them closed so that I could keep dreaming. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, the world kind of fades. Does the world kind of fade out for you? Like the color starts leaching out, and the
No,
everything
not
starts kind of.
really. I mean, maybe once or twice that's happened, but that's not the general experience. Usually I just kind of like snap awake, or again, the reverse like eye droop thing, you know?
Oh, really? But when you feel yourself waking up, I mean, it doesn't. Does the world change and alter and become like less? Because for me, it always does that.
I mean, it probably has like at times. It's just I don't really remember the end of the dreams. I don't mark down the ending so much as I just mark down the events that happen. So like I don't mark down like the process of waking up except for this one time because I thought it was interesting how I could like feel it in my eyes. Because that's never happened to me before. So yeah,
Gotcha.
that's a whole thing, I guess. I don't really have a lot more to say right now. So if you want to go on to into your like your whole monologue about like the lucid dream thing that you said you were gonna get into, be my guest. I mean,
Oh,
it's
sure.
7:39 p.m., man. Like it's a free country this year. I mean,
7:39 p.m. Excuse you, I'm in Eastern
okay,
Standard Time,
sorry.
and I don't respect.
9:39. I
I
don't
don't.
know why I
I
said
don't
7.
respect you taking
I'm an
over my
EST. I
culture,
am an EST
my
too. I'm an
appropriating
EST
my.
too. I just, if anything, I was appropriating. If anything, I was appropriating Mountain Standard Time. But whatever.
Oh, well, that is the U.S. way,
Yeah.
appropriating other people's culture. So I can.
To
Oh,
A, who is in 7:39 p.m. territory,
and I
unless
will
daylight saving
appropriate.
times happen. But whatever.
Well, I will appropriate his identity and apologize and accept the apology on his behalf, as is my right as a U.S.
Oh,
citizen.
right. Of course.
So
The manifest destiny. mindset.
Yeah, yeah, white man's burden.
Exactly.
So yeah, in terms of lucid dreaming, I have not really made dedicated attempts to lucid dream, so maybe I'm just being lazy. But have come to the conclusion that I don't think that I can lucid dream, at least not in the sense that most people would like you to believe is possible. Because people like to tell you that you can find out you're in a dream and then you can basically just do anything. Like you can change the scape of the world, you can fly, you can summon things, you can create gods and then ask them mathematically insane questions and then like get a response. Like you can do some serious, you know, internal activities once you find out you're in a dream, and that just has never been the case for me. And what I will say though is that whenever I find out that I'm in a dream, the world seems to, I guess the only way I can describe it is become violent. And either that violence is external or it's internal. And what I mean is that I have had moments in dreams where I just suddenly become aware it's a dream. Sometimes it's because of the text. Sometimes it's just a spur of the moment, urethra, I figured it out. It's a dream. And, in either case, it depends on what I try to do first. Sometimes I try to be outward and I approach other characters and I tell them that I think I'm in a dream. Or I'll say I believe that I could be dreaming right now. I hope I see you again or something like that. Or some kind of like weird meta narrative, meta commentary on the situation. And almost universally, the world tries to kick me out when I do this. Or the character that I talk to becomes violent. It's actually, in a way, kind of existentially scary. It's like a little disturbing. In one particular dream, I can point this out. This is by no means the only example of this happening. I was at an ice skating rink watching, a team play against another team, classic ice skating rink stuff. I mean, ice hockey, my bad. And there's someone sitting next to me, and I watch this whole game with them, and I don't know who this person is because my dreams just tend to have random people. But they seemed like a nice guy, and we were enjoying ourselves. The dream starts to end, and I get a feeling that I'm going to be waking up soon, but I also get a feeling that this is, in fact, a dream. And I look at them, and I smile at them, and they smile at me, and I say, hey, I think that this is actually a dream, and I'm going to wake up, but hopefully I get to see you again, and maybe we can watch something else. Because I saw them as a
Lamau,
friend.
the way
Yeah,
you
I
were
saw
so
them as
polite.
yeah, I saw them as a friend and I was like actually being gentle. I was trying to be gentle about it. I was like,
That's
you seem
so
like a cool
wholesome.
dude. I
Like,
hope that I dream of you again. And
yeah,
like
goodbye,
his
mental
smile
construct.
and
Yeah, I'll see
he
you
no,
soon.
but then it immediately gets bad though.
Oh
So
no,
he was
I
smiling
predicted it,
and
but
like the temperature, like the everything starts looking colder the moment I say this, and his smile becomes a grimace and he
oh my
reaches out
god,
and he puts his hand on my thigh and then he
what?
starts to squeeze it like hard like a metal clamp, like he starts squeezing the
Holy
shit out of
fuck!
it.
Like he's
And
like
then
the
I wake up.
Terminator.
Like I
That's
don't know what he was trying to he it was unsettling, dude. Like he shouldn't have done that. It was rude.
that's just not okay, man. Like that borders on like harassment territory.
No, I mean it was weird, but
I mean, it's not like
that's
you
what
can really
happens
file a
during
complaint against like a mental construct in your head, but like
Yeah, well, he's probably been dissolved into sub-concepts by now, so,
that's true.
still
That's
issue.
true. He was held accountable.
Yeah, but yeah, he just like instantly became evil, basically. And there was another time where there
And
was
you were
like
so nice to
some
him, and
kind
this is
of
what you got in return.
yeah.
Like it's
I
fucked
was
up.
like
I
I
can't believe
distinctly
people still
recall like I
I
was
can't believe people still do this in the year of our Lord 9:44 p.m.
yeah,
It's really fucked
9:44
up.
p.m. They still use the thigh squeezer on you when you're not
I
paying
know, right? I thought
attention,
we
when you're
outlawed that.
vulnerable and I
I
think we
thought
did.
that was banned
I'm
in
pretty
like
sure we
at
did.
least 130
In
countries.
the year of our Lord 1620, right? I'm sorry, 6:20 p.m.
Probably even more countries.
Yeah.
It's
But
fucked
mainly
up,
this
man.
one. This is the important one.
Yeah, mainly this one. Despite this being two different countries.
I I remember I had another experience where there was like a lizard man in a suit, and he was probably doing some other stuff. I don't even remember that part. I wrote it down, but I'm not gonna fish it out. And
I
I
love how
was
lizard man with a suit is just the most, it's just said like the most casually normal thing. Like,
Look, if you dude, I could get into how many weird things actually show up in my dreams and I recognize them as individual characters. Like there are parasite men, there was like a mastermind bird, there was like a Chewbacca bootleg. There's a
yeah, I
character
guess
that
a
was just a
lizard man
bunch
in a
of
suit would
myth.
be pretty normal in comparison. Like,
Yeah. So the lizard man in a suit, I think that I was with him at some point, and then I had the impression that I was in a dream. And then I had the impression that he knew that he was in a dream. Like I didn't tell him. Like he just understood it by proxy. Like he got contact enlightenment. And then all of a
like he
sudden,
just read
I
your
was in a
mind, like telepathy.
yeah, as those suited lizard men do. And I was just floating
I mean,
in a
obviously,
void all of a
famously.
sudden. I was
That's
I was
that's
floating in a
so
void.
fucked up. Holy shit!
Just
You just get
immediately after that.
like you get
And
punished for
then
your knowledge.
no, but then I see this enormous eye, not quite like moon size, but like easily the size of a large asteroid. And I recognize it as the lizard man's eye, and he's just
What?
looking at me. And I get the
Holy fuck!
sense that he's trying to keep me there so that like maybe he can be the one who wakes up instead.
Holy shit! That's a really good concept for like a horror short story, honestly. Like,
Well, this is not the only time that that's happened, dude. Like this
that's not the only time?
characters have become aggressive in like surprisingly intelligent ways is the thing. Like there was the guy at the ice
Yeah, I mean,
skating
it
rink
takes a lot of
with his
intellect to pull off the thigh grab.
yeah, no, I'm saying he was like a simpler variety. Like he just became mean. But then there was the lizard guy who I felt like had a like
Yeah, the
a
lizard guy
longer
dragged you
term
into his
goal.
eye that became an asteroid. Like, that's a bit
He
more
dragged me into
intense.
like his pocket dimension and he tried to stop me from waking up.
That's
And
fucked, man.
then there was another time this and then like years later, actually within the last 2 years, I had a dream where I was on a road trip with a whole bunch of people. And again,
Did
these
you
are
recognize
characters that
any of
weren't
them?
from any media. No, I didn't. I didn't recognize them at all. They were just individual, characters created for that instance, that particular dream.
Like very
And I
loose
but I knew them
constructs
as
of
best
people, because
friends.
that's what I usually get. It's usually like a mix of like faces I recognize in real life merged into like completely new like illusions of people who just perform the most basic, I guess, human functions. It's very much similar to how like an AI chatbot can like very loosely impersonate a human, but won't really get any of like the finer details down perfectly. That's how I always
Well,
get. That's what I usually get in my dreams.
I think that the people that I get in my dreams are not people in the conventional sense as you've outlined. They're not like, you know, physical people that we've seen and met. They're just archetypes and they
Well, mine
will
aren't exactly that either
change.
because they're usually combinations of people. I know there's a thing where like you apparently can't see faces you've never seen before in dreams, but I'm
I
sure
don't
they
think
can
that's
mix
true.
and match. I'm sure they can mix and match like facial features to create new faces. They just can't like remember. They just can't like if you haven't seen like a specific person's face, that person's face isn't going to show up. It's not that you can't like have new faces like created from scratch out of like aspects of pre-existing faces that you've seen. I think that's more so what it is. Um,
I
the
I don't
point is
know
just I
because
get
I
these like basic human constructs, and that's kind of like the civilian population in my dreams, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, sorry, go on. I kind of interrupted you there about the face thing.
I think that the reason that we can see faces even if we've never seen them before is because I see so many monsters and misshapen things and like disfigurements of the human body and face that and there's no way I've ever seen those in real life. So I mean,
Okay,
I have to have
I
the
mean
ability
like
to
precise
conjure up.
like human faces as you'd see in real life. Not like
I'm not
twisted like
sure that I
grotesque.
but I'm not sure if that's even a thing that I have seen, and I'm not certain altogether that that's a thing that anyone sees. I think that we can't ascertain whether we have that level of detail in dreams at any point. We can only say that this
Well, the thing
person
is,
looked like someone else. Keyword looked like, not was, because their
well,
faces, everything in a dream is always subtly changing and shifting. And
yes,
I think that
I'm aware
the
of that.
reason
It's
it does
just they're
that,
made up of aspects of things you've already seen. Like I like
I think that they're made up of
it's puzzle
distortions of
pieces, you
things
know?
that you remember, which is a little different.
Well, yeah, yeah, I guess that makes more sense. I'd go with that.
So anyway, the reason that I say that I think that they're archetypes is because the way I see it, these characters, at least for me, they don't always even have names. They're not explicitly inspired by people that I knew or characters that I knew. They're people I feel a certain way towards, and their appearance and mannerisms reflect their role in the dream. This person is the archetype of my mother, so that they will look like my mother, they will act like my mother, they will have traits and physical aspects that I will associate with either my mother or a motherly figure, and those things are not necessarily mutually exclusive. This person has the archetype of the friend, so they'll have shapes and mannerisms that I associate with that. And in that way, they're a character, but they're not a character the same way that someone that you wrote in a book is a character, or
But
someone
they
that
don't
you
have
see in
like
a
a
movie
specific
is a
identity.
character.
They just serve like a role in relation to you. Like your mother isn't necessarily the same as like whoever your mother is in real life, like your actual name.
Yeah, she's a reflection of how I feel about my mother and the things that my mother has done. And in that way, she is adjacent to my mother, but she is not actually the spitting image of my mother. She is like the sensation of motherhood manifested into a construct.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying now. Because generally speaking, I actually see people I know in dreams. Like, even though they're obviously like not like complete manifestations, and they won't act exactly the same because they're always a little less sophisticated, like an AI recreation, as I said. Um, but they still obviously resemble like those real people in a way that I don't think you're saying you happens to you a lot, if I'm getting this right.
Yeah, kind of yes and no. What happens is if I think someone fulfills that role to a very potent degree, like for instance with the mother hypothetical mother construct, they will look like my mother more often than not because I associate her with like the epitome of what I understand motherhood to be.
Right,
But
of
it
course.
doesn't mean that they are that person. So yeah, I mean, like, yes and no, they will be people, they can be people I recognize, but they can easily slip into something else that I still associate with what they're meant to be in the dream.
Right. So moving past all that, like I guess like complication talk.
And then I do
What
want to
happened
say
on the road trip?
once you finish this, oh, okay. I was gonna say once you finish what you're getting into, I was gonna circle back to the road trip because I didn't want to get away
Oh, I
from
don't
that.
have anything else to add. That was my
Okay.
entire point.
Oh, good. So yeah, we're on this road trip, and there's about I think maybe 4 or 5 of us. The number's not exactly important. What's important is that there was one specific person who I will just call the friend for now. And we were on this road trip, me, a bunch of other friends, and the friend. We went to a bunch of places. We sight saw, and I don't know how much of it was real sightseeing or how much of it was just, us passing time and then me being like, oh, we sight saw, antumbral data. And at one point, we went to a supermarket and we had it was like Omega Mart from Vegas. There was all these crazy things around. We were having a great time getting lost in all these different aisles and stuff. And at a certain point, the other friends started to disappear. And as they disappeared, maybe not in tandem, but just around that time, I started getting more of an impression that we were in a dream. But I wasn't at full awareness yet. It was just an inkling that, maybe there was more to this than what I was doing. And then the friend meets up with me and we reconvene, and I'm having a great time. And they say, hey, let me show you something, or their equivalent. And we go into what looks like a staff only door. And we go towards kind of like a back end part of the place, and it looks, more like an office now. There's desks, there's rooms, hallways, and it's obviously not a store. And they lead me further and further into this labyrinth. And then we go into a place that looks like a boss's office. And we walk in, and they invite me in, and then they sit behind the boss's chair, and they basically tell me, I can't word for word say what they told me, but they basically said, they communicated that this was now their dream and they were in control of it. And they were going to prevent me from waking up. Essentially, similarly to how the lizard man, I felt like he was trying to do that. But this guy just straight up said that he was in control of it and that it was his now. And as soon as he started saying that, I began to wake up. And then I was just awake. So whatever he tried to do, I mean, he failed. No one has managed to keep me asleep. It just hasn't happened.
Yeah,
But
I mean, eventually you're gonna
it's
wake up
another
from a
example.
dream, and I guess unless
Yeah,
you die, but like
or you're in a
that's
coma.
kind of cheating. Yeah.
But yeah, that was, I think, the
Well,
only
a coma can
ready
end in
example that I can
one or
recall.
two of two ways. For either you die or you wake up at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still it can seem like an endless dream. But I
Of
mean, that's
course, right?
obviously not what happened. Or maybe it is, and you're an extension of my coma dream,
It's
which, would
possible.
suck for you because then you don't really exist.
I know, I know.
But
And
I
then
don't
that
know.
would
It seems
really mean
everything
that
seems
48 is the biggest number because there's no one existing to give an argument for 43, which would really
Yeah, but
suck.
then apparently that means I'm a sissy who doesn't fully believe himself because I've conjured someone to say that 43 is the largest number,
Which
very
actually might
stupidly.
Which
And
actually, now that I think about it, might pan out more in my favor because that implies you don't even fully believe your own words, and therefore it calls into
or
question.
maybe that just implies that I need a patsy to argue against and sharpen my skills to better defend my position. That is
Oh,
in fact
right,
correct.
right. Of course, of
Which
course, of
which would
course.
actually which would be quite telling, in fact, because I think throughout our many arguments over which is the larger number, I've clearly had superiority in virtually every instance. You've
Yeah,
faltered, you failed
we agree to
over your
disagree on that.
words. You know, I think that you've brought some. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to air out the
Yeah,
political issues over
we need
the
to. Yeah, you're
your,
right. We don't want to get political on this. We really don't want to get political on this.
especially in the year of our Lord 1958 p.m.
9:58 p.m. But
Not
yes,
a minute earlier and not a minute later for
exactly.
now.
Not even a minute later. For the next, like, I don't know, 50 seconds, maybe 40, 30,
Right.
10. Who cares?
So yeah, I that dream was just very interesting to me, and I actually spoke to another friend about it afterwards, and they said it genuinely seemed like, because they're not like superstitious, but they are a creative themselves and they have their own interpretations of these things, and they said it really sounded like this other entity was trying to lure me into like a vulnerable state of mind, and then like see itself at what it saw as like the nexus of my mental state, and then take control of it. Like it wanted me to see it as someone trusted so that I would allow myself to be led into this position where it can then assume dominance over me. And I
Yeah,
mean, whether or
it's
not that's
interesting.
actually what happened is unknown, but it's crazy to think that this kind of thing has happened and it's not even the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I have a similar thing as well when I realize like I'm in a dream, except it's not so much the entities themselves turn against me. It's kind of like the entire setting of the dream turns against me. Um as in like everything just kind of like turns on me at once in terms of just the environment to get me to wake up. because it doesn't really want, like, dreams really don't want you to stay asleep once you find out that you're in a dream, generally speaking, in my experience. um like, I know you have entities that that seem like they want to keep you in the dream, but like the dream itself seems to eject you. Or maybe that's your brain, I guess, trying to do that as like a defense mechanism. But like the
Yeah,
point
honestly, who
is
can say?
the point is though, you're generally being pushed out of the dream once you realize that's what happens to me. Um One
Yeah.
instance that I find particularly funny, my dad comes up in this again. Um so I once had a dream, and I actually just talked to him about this as well as the moose dreams, like a few days ago. Um, and he thought it was all pretty funny. This in this dream, I was just sitting on like the family room couch with my dad, and I had a sneaking suspicion that I was in a dream. In Tumral data, I guess you can call it, if I'm using the term correctly. I just had like a sneaking suspicion that I'm in a dream. So I turned to my dad and I'm like, count up from 1 and just keep counting and don't skip any numbers. And if you start skipping numbers at random, I'm going to know that either you're trolling me or this is a dream. Um, and he gets from like, and so he starts counting. He's like, 1, 2, and then he starts jumping way up into like the hundreds and like says random numbers like 263 or whatever as like a non-specific example. He didn't say that exact number, I don't think, but like he said numbers like it. And he kept counting up by hundreds at a time.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, his voice kept like getting louder and booming every time he said a new number. Like the decibel like value like noticeably increased, and it also became more intense. Like there was a booming sensation that emanated from his voice and echoed out throughout the entire dream. Um, at one point, he said a number so loud that it actually just shot me awake in real life. Like, I'm not joking. Like, bro literally
You know what?
counted me into being awake.
Yeah, well, in my admittedly unprofessional opinion, what I think might have happened is once you said, count and I'll tell if this is a dream, you kind of activated the part of yourself that was aware it could be. And then once you did
Right.
that, things started to break down. And one of the ways the dream kind of booted you was through proxy of this guy counting so loud that you no longer found it feasible to stay in it. It's like trying to balance on a ball. Like it's very hard once you find out that you're in a dream to stay in it, like you pointed out.
Yeah, exactly, because
But
your mind is constantly on the matter of staying in or getting out of the dream, you know? Like you're in a heightened state of being the more aware you are, and that like inherently leads to an emotional clash, because the whole point of dreams is to, I believe, comfort you when you're asleep. Or maybe not.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if we know
I
that
would
for sure.
disagree.
It depends on the dream. It depends on the dream. But like I would say that your brain typically wants you. It's weird to think of it like this because your subconscious doesn't really want anything. It's just the subconscious seems to, I mean, your brain seems to be like by matter of intent, wanting you to be immersed in the dream so that you stay in it for some sort of like, I guess, health benefit. Because in my mind, as someone who like studies, well, I don't really study evolution, but like I try and learn things about evolution. In my mind, there's like an evolutionary like explanation for why we have like dreams. It's I don't know what it is because I haven't looked into that specifically. And to be fair, a lot of evo psych is pseudoscience, so I don't believe all of it like offhand. I need some like pretty convincing evidence. But I do believe there has to be some sort of like biological, like evolutionary explanation for why we have the dreams we do. And there's some reason why we're so immersed in them. And the brain seems to have like an instinctual negative reaction when we figure out, oh, we're in a dream. To the point where like you get booted out, or you get like in your case, that guy you said bye to just like straight up became evil on you. And like
Yeah.
it was really fucked up. I mean, why does the brain do that? Like, why can't the brain just like have the guy wave and say bye back?
I think maybe I have two theories as to why exactly we dream, and they're by no means mutually exclusive because evolutionarily, we don't mutate and grow and develop with a specific point. I mean, I guess there are people who believe differently, and if they want to, that's perfectly fine. I just believe
No,
that
I mean
our evolution is a result of random chance, and it really is just whatever has allowed us to survive and whatever hasn't killed
that's
us,
that's the
which are
thing.
not.
Evolution is just natural selection applied on a very, very large timeline. There's no conscious goal in mind. It's just whatever is most convenient for the moment ends up being preferred by an offspring, and that like over time forms trends. So like there's a specific purpose at specific moments, and then that purpose gets exhausted as the circumstances change. It's not like an ongoing thing, and it's not conscious. It is very luck based for sure. Um, but it is also based on the circumstances. It's adaptability, like that's my view of how it works, and I think we're in agreement on that.
Yeah, well, the reason that I bring it up is because that means that you can very easily evolve something that doesn't actually serve a necessary purpose, and then maybe it's repurposed into something else later, but it's not a clean system. You're not streamlining yourself. You're just mutating, and then if you survive, you survive. And that I think is a worthy, perspective to adopt when we're discussing why we dream. I think that it's entirely possible that dreaming is just a byproduct of who we are and how we've developed, but maybe it does serve some benefit. And I think that one very tangible benefit that it does serve, and maybe why it's been kept around, is the fact that it allows us to think outside the box during our resting periods. It allows us to devise new solutions and creative answers to potential problems that we would not have normally thought of because we're in the there and now, actively trying to hunt or actively trying to survive. And this is a situation where we can now kind of cool off, look at things from a more disconnected, creative angle, and maybe learn something.
Yeah, that's true because we are in a more comfortable position as humans, like nowadays. Than not all of us, obviously. There's some people who are like very much struggling like day to day just to get by. But like the two of us, I'd say, are in like fairly comfortable positions, and we have that like ability to like reflect and do all that out the box thinking, um, and all that like out the box thinking as as we're sleeping. I find it interesting and like I don't know. I don't have anything to really comment to add on to that. It's just I agree that that might very well be it. Like that might very well be why we have developed this whole dreaming thing. I don't know if it's been studied that other animals have dreams as well. I'm sure that it's popped up in more than just humans. It's just we wouldn't be able to really measure them that well without being able to literally see in the minds of other animals, which we cannot do as of yet, as so far as I'm aware.
Well, I think that early man would have stood to benefit a lot from being able to dream and being able to creatively think up new solutions and even see things from a
Yeah,
different
exactly.
perspective. Like I don't know, maybe they live in a cave and they have a nightmare that a wild cat invades into their cave and kills their family. I mean, they wake up sweating, they wake up terrified, and it's as if that they've had the foresight now. They've had the ability to see this experience and witness this experience without themselves actually being in danger, without their family actually dying. And this will allow them to take some kind of preventative measure. Or maybe
They'll look
this
into the
man
topic
dreams
of big
of.
cats and like try to look into protecting the family from them, I guess.
Yeah, they'll be proactive in this case. Or they will be proactive because they had a dream about hunting an animal. And in the dream, something large comes and crushes the animal. And they previously did not have any idea that they could potentially roll a stone onto something from a cliff. But now that they've seen that dream, they can connect the dots and they can say, hey, I never actually thought about this before. In my dream, I've been banging rocks together until I've created another idea. And I actually like the way that this sounds. I'm going to try it. And now this caveman has essentially invented the act of like, you know, trapping animals in stones and like hurling stones at things from high distances to kill them in a safe and effective way and secure food for his family. So in that way, dreams have been effective. And I think that another way that we can look at maybe how dreams have developed is it's just um, the act of us cleaning our brains, the act of us detoxifying ourselves, that some byproduct of how we're fixing our mental stories and getting things straight and just generally repairing ourselves throughout the night, because the night is a very important time for us to kind of knit ourselves back together and rejuvenate ourselves. And maybe the reason that we see all these things is because our consciousness is in a weaker state. It's you know, shut itself down a little bit. It's taken a back seat. And because of that, we can get a glimpse into what's deeper in our minds, what's kind of always roiling beneath the surface, and what we only loosely filter out when we interact with everyone and when we come up with our own ideas in real life, in our day-to-day waking lives.
Yeah, that's another theory that like could very well be true. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's a pretty. I mean, I haven't looked into too much like the study of dreams itself. I'm sure that like a lot of like neuroscientists have figured out a lot more about this than like either of us. And I don't want to say anything with certainty because it's a theory that you could easily make up pseudoscience about. Like God knows like how many people have tried to do that before. Um, when it comes to like, like I guess ancient mythology as well. Like there's one like I think there's one case where like Adolf Hitler said to like Mussolini once that he was convinced he was possessed by like an ancient spirit from Aryan mythological prehistory or some shit like that. I mean, I don't know if he genuinely believed that or if he was just trolling. Like a lot of the Nazis had like these weird like occult beliefs, and it's like this is really off topic. I'm just saying we we can't claim to know anything for certain about like the function of the brain and dreams. It's all like guesswork on our part because we're not scientists and we haven't. I mean, I haven't looked into the scientific literature. Maybe you have. If you have, feel free to correct me on this.
Admittedly, I have not looked into the scientific literature on why we dream
Yeah,
and what dreams are and
yeah.
all of
It's not
that.
really that
I'm
important of a discipline.
all
I
of this
prefer horse
is based on
science.
things that I feel are probably true. I
Yeah,
can't take horse science seriously.
dude, horse science is a very legitimate profession.
Yeah, right. That'll
Dude,
be the
what are you
day.
talking? My uncle
So,
is a horse scientist. Are you saying
I
that
another
his
thing that
job is a
I
joke?
have been yes, another thing that I
Wow,
have
that's
been
fucked up,
thinking
dude.
about and
You
that I
really,
didn't
you know
mention
what?
this
You
earlier.
deserved what happened to you with that
I'm
lizard
gonna
man.
plow past this. I'm not even gonna let you get a word in edgewise
Wow,
after this. I don't
that's
take
fucked,
horse
man.
science
That is
seriously.
fucked.
I don't take horses seriously. I don't
I'm
take
gonna.
police horses seriously, whatever the hell those are. Okay? And that being said,
It's horse
and
scientist.
summarily discarded, another thing that
Imagine if
I'm
your
very
child said
interested
he
in
wanted to grow up to
is
be
the
a horse
internal
scientist, or she,
factor
or
of
they.
having a lucid dream in
Imagine
the
if
year
your
of our
child
Lord
said they wanted to be a horse
10:13
science
p.m. in
scientists.
the
Would you
year
look
of
them in
our
the eye
Lord
and tell them that
2025 in
that's a
the year of
joke?
our Lord 912, a very important date in the formation of our Earth and its history. 2,000 million trillion years ago, the Earth was coalesced from a big ball of cosmic
You're just
gas.
saying random
And I'm
shit to cover my voice up.
I am just saying random shit now at this point. That's what you've reduced me to.
You just whip out the lorem ipsum.
Yeah, I'm just saying random things now. I had a potato peeler brought in yesterday for quality inspection. They brought it to the kitchen. I looked at it. I said, "This is very nice. Lorem ipsum dollar C Amet 12-point Calibri font." And I gave it
All
back to the
right,
guy.
true, true,
And
true, true,
he
true,
bought my
true.
house from me and he kicked me out and I
Like
died on the
I
streets.
know a great
So,
many horse scientists, many great people, many great people.
ah!
Yeah, the
Great
best,
people,
only
those
the
horse
best.
scientists. Can't take them seriously. Could never take any horse seriously. And I've actually seen horses personally, and I couldn't take them seriously even then. They went to me and they made a kind of a weird horse noise. Their goddamn face looks like a human that got stuck in a pipe. Could never take them seriously. Always laughing at them behind their backs. My chief of staff told me, "Why can't you take horses seriously?" I said, "Get the hell out of my Oval Office. I never want to see you again. You're fired, and if I see you again, you're a dead man." Because he could take the horse seriously, so he was a threat to me in his own way.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, go on with what you were going to say
Okay,
before
so
this whole tangent.
right, so the other angle of why I don't think that I can have lucid dreams and why I have a feeling that dreams are kind of our consciousness in like a lowered state, allowing us to see the unconscious and subconscious. When I realize that I'm in a lucid dream and there's no one around to get aggressive, I myself become the chaotic force. Most of the time, the moment I think that I am in a dream, my knee-jerk reaction is okay, let's break it. Now, you might think, okay, well, skill issue. Literally just like get a hold of yourself and not be doing that. And
Right,
it
no,
would be
I'm not
easy
thinking
in
that
real
because
life.
that's the problem though. You're in a lowered state of subconscious, so you can't actually control everything you do in a dream. A lot of time you just act on instinct. Like, for example, going back to the moose dreams, um, I knew from like I keep forgetting the word. Ab 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 ab
Abbott and
something
Costello, no, antumbral data.
Antumral data. Right. I knew because of that. Every time I passed that closet door, there would be some sort of like moose that would come out, or there would be some sort of moose demon, whatever. Um, every time I knew that would happen, but it didn't stop me from walking across the area. It didn't stop me from walking in front of the closet door, even though I knew what would happen every single time. It's like why would I, if I had full agency to choose what I did in the dream, why the fuck would I keep going? Why would I keep walking past the closet that I knew was going to summon a moose to come and eat me or kill me or whatever? It seems needlessly self-destructive. That's just
Yeah,
one
I
example.
don't know. Well, I don't know exactly how much of that would be instinct and how much of that would be a lack of impulse control. I guess it could be one or both. I don't know how it would be exactly with you because I was
I,
not
I
in your
do remember
situation. But I do think
I kind of
I do
remember
think it,
actually a couple times me deliberately walking to the closet to trigger the end of the dream faster because I wanted to wake up. And that's kind of interesting to me. So, like, it's almost like because I knew it was a nightmare, I was just thinking, fuck it, let's get this over with. You know?
yeah.
Like, at some
Yeah, well,
point,
I
I
think
just
you in that
experienced it
case
so many
probably.
times, I was like, okay, this is just Tuesday at this point. Let's go through the temporary scare and we'll wake up. Like, at the back of my head, that might have been a thought. I don't know if that's true, but it is something that I'm considering now, looking back on some of those dreams. I mean,
Well, I don't know if I would say that it's instinct, at least for me. For me, it's more like being a child again. Because as a child, you have fewer built up
right.
layers between what you want to do and what you will do. As an adult, you can have all kinds of intrusive thoughts and all kinds of impulses to, do short-term gain or do something selfish or do something stupid or do something mean. And
Right, the id is
they
more
may rarely
powerful
even
in
get
this
to the,
case.
the
Or
outer,
actually, hold on. Which one is the
the id. The id is the one you're talking about. The
the id
the
is the one?
instinct one.
Yeah, the instinct
The
one.
selfish
Right,
one.
the id is more
Yeah, the
powerful, as
id is
Freud would
is
say.
far more powerful, and the ego is diminished in the dream.
Yeah,
So when you have an impulse, it really is like being a child. It's like being a very small child who wants something, and you can't really stop yourself from doing it almost as soon as you think it. The link between what you think and what you do is almost non-existent. So when you say, as I have done in a dream several times, if you see a person and you say to yourself, I would like this person's limbs to explode outward in like a spaghettified mess, which
it's such a
I'm
specific
quoting almost
example.
correctly. But I'm saying like it's just an intrusive thought. And then like I'm like, oh yeah, let's do this. Let's make this freaking make that happen, buddy. And then I just do it. And it doesn't
Right, because
always
I have
work,
intrusive thoughts
but like,
sometimes, and in real life, I'm just like, my immediate response to those intrusive thoughts is like, no, that's insane.
yeah,
Let's
like
not do that.
whatever, dude. Like Nah, no thank you. But then in the dream, you go for it, and then it happens.
Exactly.
And that's how you get just complete horror show scenarios where you
Yeah, I
ask
don't
too
want to
much of the
get
dream, and
yeah,
the
I don't
dream
want to
just
get too
doesn't want to
much into
do it.
specifics on this, but like I have legitimately had dreams where like I just act according to like intrusive thoughts that I have in real life. Um which sometimes can be very terrifying because like intrusive thoughts are unwanted thoughts. Like a lot of people think that intrusive thoughts are just any random stray thought that comes into your head. Maybe that's more of what you're getting at. But like I have like
I want to
legitimate
think where
like
they're like
intrusive
midway.
thoughts. I
Yeah,
have like
basically.
legitimate like intrusive thoughts that are like genuinely like fucked up sometimes. Not to get into any specifics. That is obviously for me and my therapist if I end up getting one in the future, which I probably will at some point. It's not for you. I'm just saying sometimes I have these thoughts, and sometimes in dreams they become more than thoughts, which kind of scares me more than like anything in the dreams themselves. Like some people can have really fucked up impulses, and the idea of just being able or not being no, it's not even being able because it's the opposite. Of being resigned to immediately fall victim to those impulses because the layers that you've built around yourself to like stop yourself from doing like messed up things, like those have deteriorated in a dream setting. Um, and it's fucked up, like because what if that happened in real life for whatever reason? Like, obviously, I don't think it would, but like, what if though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean it would be terrible. I mean, I don't know if that's what a sociopathy is, probably not, but it would
I don't
definitely
think
be
that's exactly what it
some kind
is,
of
but
illness. It would definitely be some kind of illness that would cause
well, yeah,
problems to you and the
intrusive
people.
thoughts is like an actual like mental health thing that like a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people deal with.
No, but like just the difference is whether or not you can actually like act on it, whether or not you will act on it, and
Oh, I
whether
definitely
how
don't
much
like
control
act
you
on any
have over.
intrusive thoughts I have. It's just like
Yeah, no,
the
I
thought
didn't
in the back
yeah.
of my head that like I could in like even in a dream setting is like messed up to me.
It's a little less messed up to me in a dream because I know that a dream is essentially a safe space.
Yeah,
But
you're right. Like
for
it
me,
is.
it's more fascinating, I think, for me, that just the idea that you would have a sensation where you just get to see what happened to the world when you don't have any impulse control or inhibition.
Yeah, you're right.
But
Dreams maybe that is another like purpose of dreams like evolutionarily where it's like um maybe it is like an impulse control thing to an extent where like it gives you a safe space to exercise all of these like possibly intrusive thoughts without actually harming anyone in real life in the process or like causing any damage to like I don't know anything else property like intrusive thoughts to commit arson or whatever. I don't think those are really common ones, but like
all
yeah,
I
the
can
the
say to
limb
that is maybe.
explosion is
I'm
probably a more common intrusive thought. Maybe not specifically the limb explosion, but
I think that it should be.
yeah, of course, of
I
course.
think that more people should
I
think
think
about the
more
limb
people should
explosion.
start thinking about like
Yeah.
exploding limbs. You're right. You're right. I think we should actually encourage that one. Like
Yeah,
therapists should be like, you
we
should
should
think
encourage
more
it,
about exploding limbs.
get the children thinking about
Yeah, yeah.
developing exploding.
We want to invent a new subject in school about exploding limbs, just to make sure they're really on
Absolutely.
that. I mean, maybe
So,
instead of horse science, we can have exploding limb science. You might be able to take that one seriously.
oh yeah, absolutely. Get rid of that horse science. Nobody needs that. Put in exploding
Yeah,
limb
no, except
science.
my
There's
uncle,
that.
who's a
You
horse
could go places
scientist.
with
I
that.
mean, we can keep my uncle.
Well, I mean, he's already been trained in it. He doesn't need to learn about it,
That's
so
true. That's
it's not
true.
going to harm him.
That's a good point.
Anyway, one thing that you might find pretty funny, and this I think is nearing the end of what I can say on the lucid dream category, is I was talking a long time ago near the beginning of this podcast about how lucid dreams people say that they enable
All
you to
right,
do a
many
whole bunch
years
of
ago,
stuff.
many years ago.
Many moons ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Many
But
lizard man eyes ago.
the thing is, the very funny part of this, the ironic part, one might even callously, carelessly say, is even if none of the external forces are trying to push me out of the dream, even if I somehow contain my excitement at knowing that I'm in a dream, I can still do shockingly little. There is an example of this. I had a dream where I was in a school, and it was like a school with no exterior. It was basically just like an infinite school complex. Um,
Right, yeah, I've
and
been in
then I
places
became
like
aware
that
that I was
before
in
in
a dream.
dreams. Not in real
Yeah,
life. I was
I
not gonna add the
I
in dreams
became
part
aware that
until
I was
right at the end, but obviously.
I became aware that I was in the dream, and I said, "Okay, cool. I'm aware. I'd like to be outside." And nothing happened. I was like, "Yeah, I'd like to change the scene here so that I'm like in a field. I think that would be a nice place to start off." Zilch. Like zero reaction from the environment or anything.
That's
So then I
brutal.
said, "Okay, can I like fly or anything?" And like I could levitate off the ground a little bit, but that was basically it.
You're negotiating with your brain.
Yeah.
Like
I
the
and then I
treaty.
it's so it was really funny. So then I go I think, okay, so like I can't really create anything. Can I like take things away? So I go to a toilet that's just built into the wall for some reason. And I say, "All right." I point at the toilet. I point at the toilet and I say, "Remove this toilet." I'm like exercising small portions of my power. What do you want to guess what happened when I said remove the toilet?
Well, maybe it did get removed, but like the sewage spilled everywhere. Like, the consequences of your hubris.
That's actually very close to what happened. So
Wait. That's really funny.
I
I did not
the I
expect that.
point no it, I point at the toilet and I say remove this toilet, and it removes all the white porcelain. The pipework and the interior is still there. Like the bones of the toilet.
That's like when you
Everything is just
That's like when you
there
delete That's like when you
floating.
try to delete an object in Blender, but you just delete the faces by accident instead of like the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like I deleted a portion of the 3D model of the toilet, but I didn't delete the inside of the toilet because like my mind, I guess, didn't register the command as like the entirety of the toilet. It
That's so
registered it as like
fucking
this
good.
part of the toilet that you perceive. So then I pointed to like individual pieces. I was like, remove that, remove this, and then it
You have to
worked.
remove
I
all
was
the
able to
individual
remove like
sub pieces
specific
of the toilet.
individual like yeah, the individual like portions of the toilet, like this section of the pipe, this like little tool here, the fucking buoy part,
That's
just like
so
remove that all
fucking good. Oh my god.
individually.
That might be one of the funniest things I've ever heard from a dream story. I'm not even gonna lie. Like that's
And
genuinely amazing.
I'm glad you got a kick out of that. But yeah,
I
so
just realized I've been using my worst mic on Discord this entire call. It's fine on recording because I use my good mic, but you might notice a noticeable increase in my quality from here on out.
oh, that's fine. Um
But yeah,
and
that's really good. That's such a funny story. Like I didn't expect that
I
at all.
did actually
I mean, I
seem to
kind of
have the
clocked it, but
yeah, no, you did. You were very close. You were
that's
right on
right.
it,
That's
basically.
right.
And then on a less funny note, but still one I think is kind of worth mentioning. I did have the ability to kind of change people's minds, but not
What do
directly.
you
Like
mean
I couldn't
change
say
people's
that.
minds? Like
Oh,
convince
well, I mean,
them of an argument or
change
like morph
their
their brains?
their more change their perception as it related to subtler things in the environment through my actions. Like I couldn't make them immediately different people, but I could
Make
turn
them a different
myself
people.
invisible.
A
I
different
could make
people.
them
Yeah, of
react
course.
as if I had turned myself invisible, or I could, make them want to turn around and head the other way. Like I could
Oh,
do
that's
smaller
interesting.
things like that, but I couldn't completely reshape them. Or if I was in a state where I could completely reshape them, also was in a state where the dream would boot me out.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. It's like the dream gave you like limited, like negotiated power to do small things, but you couldn't do like big things. You got
No.
completely like screwed over when you asked for the field. Like just crickets.
Yeah, I got just small end of the stick there.
Yeah, exactly. I can't get over the fact that you deleted the outside of the toilet only. Like that's
I thought
just
that was
really
very
good.
funny when I woke up too.
Yeah, I would actually be laughing about that. It's like it's kind of like again, like one of the funniest things from like my whole list of dreams is again the Korean food one where like the implication was in within the context of the dream that I had somehow sleepwalked or sleep driven or sleep took the train or some shit all the way to Toronto and then just so that I could eat a sandwich that I probably made at home anyway instead of going to a restaurant. Like I made the trip all the way to the city where I was specifically intending to eat at a restaurant, only to just sit somewhere and eat the sandwich that I had prepared at home, just so that I could wake up midway through eating the sandwich and realize that I had made myself full and I couldn't eat the food I wanted to eat anymore. Like, that's just a really great mental image.
Yeah, just kind of, you said you teleported earlier. You said you might have teleported
I
earlier in the
might
actual dream,
have,
then got
but
the
I don't
sensation
think
of
that's what
slept.
happened.
I think
That's not
I'm
my
gonna
guess.
headcanon that you. I'm gonna headcanon though that you fell asleep and then you teleported and then you woke up.
Oh yeah, I
Like
sleep
both things.
teleported,
It was just
obviously.
yeah, that happens. People have done it before.
It's a
It's
very
it's
normal
actually quite common.
experience, yeah.
Yeah,
There's even a whole
it's really
science
good.
around it. It's called sleep teleporting science. It's a lot more
Sleep.
credible than horse science, many people are
It's a
saying.
very niche field, though, I have to say.
Yeah, it's a very niche
Not as
field.
niche as the limb explosion visualization, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
getting
it's
there.
a little bit more mainstream than that, but like it's still fairly niche, I'd say.
So we may be approaching time because it's a little late for me. The year of our Lord, 10:32 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. I just saw it turn from 10:31. I mean, time really passes by, man.
I saw my opportunity. I didn't want to become corrected midway through, like a rube.
Wow. Yeah, no, that would be a shame.
Absolutely. I don't know if I could
Well,
ever recover.
I don't really have much more to add anyway, and I do need to go to bed. Um, because I am actually going to Toronto tomorrow, to Koreatown, or I'm trying to,
Oh,
so that I can actually eat the food I wanted to eat in that dream out of spite for the dream making me not eat it.
right. Okay, you're gonna do
It's
that
really
just for that
important.
reason?
Well, not just for that reason. I do legit want to go to Toronto and just walk around, but like that's part of the reason. I think that's pretty funny.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, no, you gotta show superiority over yourself.
exactly. I mean,
I
that's
think
just
that's
how you
valid.
develop as a person.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
important.
Constantly winning battles with yourself.
Exactly. That's like what you do with the third 43-48 debate with me as a figment of your imagination because as you know, I'm not real.
Exactly. Just pushing the nail deeper in, eventually we're gonna seal the coffin shut on that whole debate and I will emerge victorious now and
Yeah,
forevermore.
that's sure. Whatever, man. I mean, if you believe
You're not
that,
very
not
enthusiastic
much I
about
can
it.
do.
But I am. I have enough enthusiasm for the both of us, which is probably still just the one of us.
Right, but do you have 43% enthusiasm? Is the real question.
No, I have much higher than that.
Right. I mean, that's not possible, but like I'm not going to get
Yeah,
political.
no,
I'm
you
not
would say that.
I
You would
told you
say that.
I said I wouldn't get political. I said I wouldn't get
Yeah.
political. Right.
Okay. Well,
I don't have much else to say. I think we covered this topic pretty sufficiently. I could get into like specific dreams, but I feel like that's for a better. I could just read out some of the insane dreams I've had, but that's for a different episode, I feel.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
more of like
probably. I mean,
the discussing the concept of dreams with some examples to make like the points, I guess.
yeah, to make it kind of easier to illustrate and
Exactly.
understand. But I mean, if you want to have me on in the future for any reason, I mean, I'll probably be available. We'll see what
Sure.
the fans have to say. I don't know where you
Exactly.
upload these.
I can actually show you where the channel, but I'll do that later.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
but thanks for coming on. It was fun. It was a fun conversation for sure.
Yeah, I had fun.
All right, bye.
I Bye. See ya.
Thank you all for listening to the Sweet Space podcast. We will be signing off now, and thank you to Andrew for coming on. Goodbye.